if A24 wasn't really the film company to pick this up, you could go somewhere like Alamo Drafthouse maybe, or Neon to be. I mean, I don't know, Neon after winning with Parasite. I don't know what their agenda is going to be. Drive-By Movies here. You're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name's Blaze.
And I'm James.
This week, we're talking After Midnight, directed by Jeremy Gardner, Christian Stella, and starring Jeremy Gardner, Bree Grant, and Justin Benson.
Hell, I'm not entirely convinced it's not you. You like a werewolf or something?
2020 is the year of Jeremy Gardner. Like, starting off hot this year with, we already saw Bliss just a couple weeks ago, and now we're seeing this. So,
So he's been in a couple things. If you don't know who Jeremy Gardner is, he's, kind of like, I guess, infamous from The Battery, which is like a zombie film he made with his friend Christian Stella, who also gets his first co-directing credit in this film, After Midnight. So something I did want to bring up, which is interesting, I think Jeremy Gardner definitely has a look. Some might call it hipster. Some might call it guy with beard. I don't know exactly what, but do you think like he lends himself to a lot of these little small pieces, and either, Justin Benson, who appears in this film, he's in a lot of his movies as like a bit character, or Joe Begos' films as a bit character. Now, this is your first time, because I don't think you've seen The Battery, correct?
I have not seen The Battery yet, but it's on my radar though.
So does he seem authentic as an actor? Does it seem like he's actually in this film, or is it a little like, oh, it's just like a hipster like in the lead role? No, I feel like that's like a vibe that I kind of get, even though I do enjoy him as an actor.
I mean, he's definitely not playing at all, I'd say, the same character that he played in Bliss. Like Bliss, I think the character role like kind of called for him being like just like an over the top confident, like you could say douchebag character, but like overall he was just like kind of just like thought he knew what's best for his girlfriend and stuff, and he just didn't play like a likable character in that movie. And then with this one though, I mean, I see that like, he's definitely has his faults and problems, but you sympathize with them though. That's like one of the things that I feel like you need with a movie. Like even if it's not really a character that you like, you at least need to like kind of be willing to follow them along, and I was willing to follow this person to see their faults and everything.
Definitely. So After Midnight is basically about this guy who his girlfriend leaves him, and then since she's left him, a monster keeps attacking after midnight. That's where they get the title, of course. And is the monster, like, we don't get to really see the monster for a while, so is it real? Is it just in his head? Is he the monster? Is he the reason that his girlfriend is left?
Right.
And then inexplicably she comes back one night.
Yeah. And first and foremost, though, like throughout the movie, though, one thing to bring up is it's the editing I thought was top notch and what made the story flow very nicely. Going back and forth between like a romantic scene with him and his wife moving in, them settling in, them talking about raising family and kids and stuff, just them being close with all their other friends that live nearby, and all these parties, and then just out of nowhere in the middle of like these shots or scenes will be a cut scene of him freaking out, yelling at himself, or shooting his door, or chasing stuff in the tall grass outside and stuff, because he lives out like kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so like I thought the editing for this movie was very clever and well done, and made the movie flow pretty well, because it's not a long movie too.
No, I think it's like 125 or 129. I think it's like a good length for... It's essentially a magic trick. I mean, you get to see towards the end, but I thought it was a perfect length. It didn't feel too long. I enjoyed the film for the most part. I could understand a lot of people being disappointed with the movie, but I'm happy with the movie that I got.
Yeah. It definitely felt more of or less of a horror film and more of just like an indie drama, but just like it's easy to throw it into the horror genre and stuff to get more people to watch it, I'd say, for the most part. That's effective. I thought like one of my favorite movies to come out in recent years was a movie you introduced me to, Spring. And that's definitely more like it's a romantic drama essentially. Yeah. But it is still at its core like pretty creepy and does have a lot of horror elements. But this felt similar to that, but just less horror though, I'd say.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking about Spring, the director does appear in this movie. Justin Benson plays this sheriff who's also kind of a friend. Yeah. And he's worried about his own friend. Yeah. But it was, I think this was definitely like almost an homage to their friend's movie. I think Spring. I still think they're very different. I think it's an easy comparison, but I think overall they are different movies.
Right.
I feel like Spring is definitely more grounded in the horror, where this film is definitely more the relationship drama.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And something I do want to bring up, like probably my favorite thing about the movie was at the 50-minute mark. There's this scene that you haven't been waiting for the whole movie, but you definitely, when it gets there, you're like, oh, this is like the meat and potatoes. This is basically I've been watching the whole movie for this scene essentially, which is them speaking on the porch about their relationship.
Took me a while to realize it was all done in one shot, but yeah, it's about like 5-6 minute scene, I'd say.
I think it's 14 minutes.
Oh, 14.
Or wait, no. It's like 10 minutes, and they did it 14 times. I read they did a Reddit AMA on movies about like the making of the movie, and I guess they had to like hide the crew to get it to be really authentic. So it's just Jeremy Gardner and Bree Grant on the front porch. They had the crew like hiding around the other side of the house essentially. So it's just really them and the camera essentially. And I feel like that scene really pays off, and that's like, when I was watching the movie, I was kind of waiting for it. It does have a slow first act. You're kind of like, wait, all right, where's this going? I think it does detract a little bit that you're like, oh, this is a horror movie, and then it's not really that. I would have loved going in, not even seeing the poster or anything, but that scene was like really hit me hard.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really well done by both actors.
Yeah. And at times, like, I thought, like, is this even a real moment, too? Also, just because we've been seeing Jeremy's, like, descend into madness, it felt like all these, like, he's losing his friends just because of how crazy he's gotten with his girlfriend missing. And then she just comes back out of nowhere. And he very, like, rightfully asks, like, these, like, questions like, yo, where have you been? Like family, or she said like a high school reunion or something. And then just like, all right, that covers like 1 week. What about the other like months or whatever it was, or 4 weeks or something, like at least a month or something she was gone. But
yeah, I have to say I really enjoy it. I think people should check it out, but definitely be going in, knowing that it's not really a horror movie.
Yeah, I'd say the best way to describe this is if, like, well, Joe Swanberg, if he were to make a horror film, this is what it would have been.
Yeah, I think so. I think that really nails it. It definitely reminded me of like a mumblecore movie.
Yeah.
But I think that the cinematography is so much better than a mumblecore movie that it definitely lets you stay, where you're like, oh, I really enjoyed the scenes of just seeing them in the tall grass. And then so many shots are done in Magic Hour where it absolutely looks beautiful. I thought Christian Stella, the other director of the film, he's the cinematographer, and I thought he did an amazing job. It looks so much better than The Battery, and you can clearly tell that these guys, even though they haven't made a movie in a while, have clearly been improving. And I hope that somebody like A24 would be picking up their next movie, because this was done on the cheap. This was done on the fly, or at least not as expensive as other movies. Maybe for them it was expensive, but a company can front roll like their next movie, and it could definitely be something.
I could have seen A24 easily busting out like a trailer to get people to want to see it and stuff. Advertise it as a horror film. That's what they've done before multiple times, where they lead people on thinking it's one movie and then they get something else, but they do well. And so, yeah, I could see definitely that happening.
I mean, if A24 wasn't really the film company to pick this up, you could go somewhere like Alamo Drafthouse maybe, or Neon to be, I mean, I don't know, Neon after winning with Parasite. I don't know what their agenda is going to be, but supporting some kind of backyard filmmaking like the things that these guys have been doing would be really cool for a bigger company to get behind.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'd like to see where that goes towards. I'd say, like, I do recommend this movie. Like, the payoff worked for me. Don't want to go into spoilers just because I feel like the movie's like worth a watch. It's a short time period to get through. If it's like, if you're looking for a very violent, crazy horror film, like, this is definitely like the opposite end of Bliss, I'd say. But I'd still recommend for people to check out, though, if you enjoyed movies like Spring, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely check this out, guys. And the easiest way to support the show is by going into the Amazon affiliate link in the description below and clicking that link and watching After Midnight.
After doing that, be sure to leave a comment and let us know what you thought about the movie yourself. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
That's it for fresh releases. Tune in next week for a brand new video.